Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Sister Show. I am your host, Deborah Mills, coming to you live, or pre-recorded, from my domain here on Earth. And I'm here to talk to you about whether relationships are transactional. When we hear about non-platonic relationships or erotic relationships, a lover, people tend to say, 50-50, 50-50. Then one person will now come and say, 100% on both sides. And blah, blah, blah. Don't mind me looking at my watch. I'm just looking at the camera to make sure it's in place and it's looking at me and it's recording. But when it comes to friendships, I don't think there's no rule book, there's no guide. I think people sort of determine that on their own, I guess, based off of your beliefs and your values, what you value in a person. That's really what determines what would make a relationship work with you. But I don't know if anyone's spoken about this before, but relationships are transactional. When I say relationships are transactional, you must give something to get something. And of course, there's going to be selfish people who like to say, there's always obviously selfish people who just want to take from you and give nothing. But if relationships are not transactional, and that means all relationships, family, friends, whether it's a teacher-student relationship, whether it's obviously even a lover situation. When I say all relationships are transactional, if you disagree with what I'm saying, then why would it be a problem? Why would you see it as a problem? Or you would see it as a problem if someone, it could be a guy or a girl, giving their love, their affection, their time, their effort, their money to someone and getting nothing in return. If you feel some sort of loss when you go through that, or when you see that happening, that means you agree subconsciously, because we do give something to get something. We don't give things with the intention of getting it back. It's not like I'm giving you this so I can ask for this back. But when you give something to someone of your own free will, voluntarily, from your heart, and it's genuine, it would be assumed, and I think it's safe to assume, that you can ask for something in return, not in terms of like, I'm giving you this, but now that I'm giving you this, could you give me this? It could be that, but it is mostly in the case of like, this person gave you money for a mortgage or something, and maybe, they gave it to you of their own free will. I don't know anyone that will do that, to be honest, but gave it to you of your own free will, and they told you don't have to return it. They don't need the money or whatever, or whenever you're free. And let's just say this person's your next door neighbor, or just simply a friend. And then let's just say the person's traveling to the airport. They're traveling to another country. Obviously, they're going to the airport, and they can't drive. You can drive, you've got a car, but they can't drive because who really pays for airport parking? Like, I don't know anyone that does that. Airport parking, maybe I've not been in that situation where I've needed it, but yeah, so you have a car. Sorry if you heard that, I just burped and that came out of nowhere. It would be assumed that you would drive them. And if I say it's not assumed, maybe you have something else going on at that time, it's kind of assumed that you won't charge them. Imagine, like someone who would actually charge, despite the fact that I gave you money for your mortgage, you're charging me for a lift to the airport. Like, really? I would pay like £50 for a taxi, but I gave you £5,000 for your mortgage deposit and you can't charge me. Those situations seem imbalanced. And of course, the person, we could say the person's within their right to ask for money, 30, 40, £50. But then it's not right? It's not right for the person to ask for something considering how much you've given to them. Relationships are transactional. We do things to get things. You give all your love to someone, they're going to give you all that love back. Might not be in the same way in terms of, let's say, an erotic relationship. I think that's the word. A lover relationship. You give this person all your love, you give them your time, you give them your energy. It would also be assumed that they will give the same thing back. It may not be in the exact same way. Everyone has their love language. Everyone's lives are different. But you would feel you would get a return on that. And that's a discussion I feel is important for people to have. especially people pleasers. I guess it is, they do acknowledge that it's transactional, because they think if they do all of these things for you, you would love them back, or you would like them, or something, whatever that means for them. But I just wanted to put that thought out there, that all relationships are transactional. We do things to get things, but is the intention behind it, the energy behind it. It's not like, when I say transactional, I don't mean in terms of I'm doing this for you so you can do this for me, or I'm doing this for you so that I can hold it over your head, so to make sure you continuously do things for me. It's most of like, you give your energy to friends, you spend time with friends, you give them advice, you may lend them money, you may do whatever it is for them with the intention, with the assumption, or even though you don't want it back immediately, which is what we always say, you don't have to give it back, but then when it's not time, when they ask you for money for the taxi driver to the airport, you'll be like, but I gave you, some people might not say it, some people might say it, some people might not say it, but it will be at the back of people's minds, like, I gave you 10 times, 100 times this amount, I'm sure you can let it go. But we don't do it with the intention of asking for it back, but it is assumed that somewhere along the way in our journey of life, I would get a return on this. And I even believe, and even when it comes to our relationship with God, if you are a Christian, even our relationship with God is transactional. We all know God is the all-knowing God. God can do anything. But we all want these things, first of all, we all want these things to be done for us. But for God to do these things for us, there has to be something we would do. We would repent, stop doing wicked things, sinful things, and the rest of the things that's written in the Bible, really. But I think everything in the Bible is summed up as love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's written in the Bible. That's what it all encompasses. But the specific situations that people, that helps us get through our daily lives to make sure we live up to loving your neighbor as you love yourself is what the Bible is detailing. There are certain things that go against self-love, whether you believe it or not, and they go against the love of other people. So obviously don't kill, it's obvious. But there's also many things. That's why every situation you go through in life, you can always find a solution in the Bible. But I don't want to digress. But everything is summed up in love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so God is saying, repent from your sin and, love your neighbor as you love yourself. In whatever way that will be, the various ways that it implies. If you don't do those things, you can't expect, even though God says, the sun shine and the rain falls on the wicked and the righteous alike. But for you to get more than just a basic, well, let's not say basic, because being alive is a very wonderful thing. But what some people take it for granted and consider it just a basic human right or something, But to get more than just a basic, you're alive, you got a job, the rain falls on you, the sun shines on you. There's something we always have to do, and it's always detailed in the Bible. Sometimes he even speaks through prophets in church, and there's always something that we have to do. So all relationships are transactional. I guess we just have to make sure we are depositing in the right person, in the right bank. That's where the problem lies. And I think is the hurt and the pain of putting your energy in the wrong places. Imagine when you see guys who put all their energy into a girl that she doesn't like them back, or a girl who's doing all these things for a guy's wifey things, and the guy doesn't even wife her. Like, really? I wasted all my time cleaning your dishes, buying you food, taking care of you when you're sick, checking up on you just to make sure you're not, and you can't even, give me a lift to the airport, really? And it's not like they're doing anything special. Those situations are triggering. I think it's a trauma from doing things, putting all your energy, time, effort into the wrong person and getting nothing in return. That is what has made people harden up to the idea, that's why when you see people, I don't even know, I know words just seem to not be doing me justice right now. I think the trauma of putting all your time and money, effort into the wrong place has traumatized people. That's why you tend to see people who would give a little and expect a lot. It's kind of like it's some sort of legal transaction to be a friend now. Like, I'm doing this for you, but then it is assumed, in fact, the person nowadays, people can make it very clear, I'm doing this for you so you can do this back for me, and that is wrong. That is wrong. Relationships are transactional. I don't intend for this to be a long video, but it is transactional. We give things with the expectation of getting things, but the way we intend to get those things, I think, is the differentiating factor. It's different when you do something just to get something, and it's different when you pour into someone, expecting at a different time, when you're in need, when they have some sort of appreciation for you, they will pour back into you. Those are, that's another way of seeing it. That's another reason why we give. That's the reason why we give love, give time, give effort, give energy. So that's all I have to say on this topic. I don't feel the discussion on this topic is over. I really feel like I've got a lot more to say on this. Perhaps I need to speak to someone about it so they can, give me their input. It can't just be from me, even though this is my show. I think I need to hear someone else's opinion on this, whether they believe relationships are transactional. If they do, why? If they don't, why? I don't want to assume I know everything in the world. I know I don't know everything, but I don't know what I don't know, and everybody thinks differently. So I need to hear someone else's opinion on this. So I don't feel like this conversation is over, but I just wanted to get it out there. That relationships are transactional. It is, we like to say 50-50. Actually, you know what? Come back to this 50-50 thing, especially when it comes to relationship. What is 50-50? I think that what people are trying to imply with that term is that you give your all, I give my all. So it's not really 50-50, is it? It's 100-100, because 50-50 means we're both giving half effort. That's what 50-50 means. But I think what people are saying, we're both giving each other an equal amount of effort in a different way. Everyone has a love language. If love languages are real, maybe it's as a result of trauma. Who said? We just know what we're hearing. Who says trauma? Love languages are a real thing. So people might not like physical touch, maybe because they've been physically abused. Not, maybe some people like gifts because their parents spoiled them. But then I guess if that's their way, that's a different conversation for a different day. I guess if that's one of the ways they feel loved, it is what it is. I just don't feel like it's right. But that's just my opinion. So this 50-50 thing, we tend to hear about in relationships. There's no guidance for friendships, but I think it's really just friends who you align with the same morals and values and beliefs, I think. But when it comes to relationships, I think the whole point of this 50-50 nonsense is, you both give an equal efforts. You pour into me, I pour into you. Let love be the water. You pour into me, I pour into you. There's no drought here. Blooming throughout. Actual power. I'll be your sanctuary. I'm just quoting Beyonce. But it's true. Let love be the water. You pour into me, I pour into you. That comes in different ways and at different times. But you do things with the intention of getting them back. Because what about that person, if you still disagree, what about that person that can see their relationship is over and they're loving themselves for the both of them? So she can see, or he can see, that relationship is over, and then they start doing the most to keep them together, and it's not happening, but the person is still enjoying the benefits, but they're not doing anything. I think I've said enough already. Just wanted to have at the back of your mind for the future. But there's a very high chance that we'll come back to this topic. So that is it for this episode. It's actually quite shorter than before, but still, I would like to hear people's opinions and comments, and like and comment and share, please. I'm just starting a YouTube channel. I'm doing my best. Yeah. Thank you.